Happy Halloween guys, Bellamy here from Midnight Suns back again with another review, and today I'm gonna be checking out the Marvel Cinematic Universe Halloween TV special, Werewolf by Night. The horror narrative told in Werewolf by Night is pretty simple, but it is full of excitement and twists that keeps it engaging throughout. Basically, plot-wise, there exists a mystical gem known as the Bloodstone, which grants its user magical superpowers. What kicks the story off is that the previous wielder of the Bloodstone has died, and so the greatest monster hunters from around the world have gathered to engage in a battle royale of sorts, where they will fight each other as well as a monster that has been infused with the Bloodstone, in order to determine who will be the victor and new wielder of the Bloodstone. However, not everything is as it seems, and during the course of this battle royale, we begin to learn that perhaps not everyone participating in this competition is who they appear to be. I won't give too much away because I don't want to spoil the story for you, but the twists and turns are really great, and I would say that this is probably one of the most well-written shows that Marvel has ever put out on Disney+. Gael Garcia Bernal does a fantastic job with his portrayal of Jack Russell, aka the Werewolf by Night, and Laura Donnelly, who is always amazing in everything she does, also did a great job bringing the badass superheroine Elsa Bloodstone to life. But my favorite character has to be the one and only Man-Thing. The creature was created using a mixture of practical effects and CGI, and I freaking love the performance that this character gives. Even though he is pretty much a special effects creature, they managed to make him exhibit so much character and lifelikeness that I absolutely fell in love with his character so much and found myself caring for him more than I did for any of the other human characters. The visual style of this TV special is what makes it so unique compared to any other MCU project we've seen thus far. The show is presented mostly in black and white, and the cinematography really captures this 1950s style noir film vibe that is just so beautiful. The whole film is shot in a very old-fashioned Hollywood movie kind of way, and I actually really found myself just admiring all the artistic choices they made when creating this absolute piece of art. The visual effects are just so perfect for the vibe they're going for, even though it can get over the top sometimes, like when Man-Thing is literally melting people to their skeletons. But it just fits so perfectly with this old-school horror vibe that they're going for. They also used a ton of practical effects in this movie with the fantastic sets and monsters, and it just made everything look so much more real. But anyway, I am somebody who is a huge advocate of practical effects over CGI, so maybe I am a little biased, but I really loved the costumes and sets that they physically built for this show. The sound design in this show is also absolutely fantastic. The director, Michael Giacchino, not only directed this movie amazingly, but he also composed this perfectly haunting and beautiful score and soundtrack for the show. My favorite character in the show, Man-Thing, didn't have any spoken dialogue throughout the show, so they decided not to give him a voice actor, but instead use a mixture of sound effects for all the verbal sounds that he made. And let me tell you, they did such a great job creating the sound effects for this creature to the point that I felt all his emotion and character through his grunting sounds despite him never speaking a single word throughout the show. So yeah. The sound design in this show is fantastic, and they deserve to win an Emmy for it, in my opinion. Overall, I thought this was one of the best MCU projects I've ever seen on Disney+, and I am giving it a solid 8.5 out of 10. There's tons of action to keep you entertained, there are scary moments to keep the horror fans like myself hooked throughout the 53-minute runtime, and the characters are just so bloody awesome. Now, as you might be able to tell from the name of this channel, I am a huge fan of Marvel's Midnight Suns, which is basically a group of Marvel's horror-themed characters, kind of like a mystical horror version of the Avengers. Well, in this TV special, they've already introduced 3 potential members of the Midnight Suns: Elsa Bloodstone, Werewolf by Night, and Man-Thing, and I loved how all those characters were portrayed here, so they are really off to a good start already. All they need to do now is introduce Ghost Rider into the MCU, and maybe add Moon Knight and Doctor Strange to the group, and they will have a super awesome 6-member Midnight Suns team. I really hope that that's where they are headed after this show, because it would be a huge shame if we never see the characters from this show ever again in the MCU after this. The director Michael Giacchino already confirmed that this show takes place in the same canon universe of the main MCU Earth 616 timeline. So there's really no reason to not bring these characters into other bigger MCU projects now. That being said, time will only tell what happens to the amazing characters introduced in this special, but until then, I will continue recommending this show to anybody who is a fan of horror movies, especially old school horror movies, and anyone who's just looking for a different flavor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And well, that pretty much brings me to the end of this review. Once again, happy Halloween everybody, thank you very much for watching, and as always, stay gold.